Hi, this is Billy Brown. I'm a nature writer with Grid Magazine and phillynature.org, and today we're going to talk about bullfrogs. Philadelphia has got a lot of fun frog species, or at least a few fun frog species, and one of them is the American bullfrog. So bullfrogs are our largest frog. I'll say they get to be about yay big and really fat, so they can sort of fill up your hand when you're holding them. They like to live in relatively large bodies of water that move relatively slowly, so not a puddle, it's a little too small, but a pond, or right now we're at Cobbs Creek at the edge of West Philadelphia near the Cobbs Creek Environmental Center, and we've got bullfrogs all up and down the shoreline here. Bullfrogs are named for their classic call. It's something that sounds kind of like juggarum, juggarum, and it sounds a little bit like a bull, so there you get the name bullfrog. We're filming this at the end of May. They call well into the summer, and you can hear them. It's sort of like one of the classic sounds of summer nights out in nature is that rumbling call of the bullfrogs. The males are calling to defend their little patch of territory and to try to attract some females that they can mate with. Once they mate, they lay eggs in the water. Those eggs hatch out, and the tadpoles, since they're such big frogs, the tadpoles take a while to develop. So they'll lay their eggs 1 year, the tadpoles will stay in the water for basically at least a year growing, and so then the following summer after they hatch out is when they absorb their tails, they grow legs, and they hop out of the water as little froglets. Bullfrogs are a little hard to confuse with anything else that we have, except for one other frog that's called the green frog. Really basic name, green frog. But green frogs look like smaller bullfrogs. The way you can tell them apart is a bullfrog has a relatively smooth back, whereas a green frog has two little ridges of skin that kind of run down the sides of the back. Those are called dorsolateral folds, but if you're looking at a frog and it has sort of a smooth back to it without those ridges running down at the edge of the back, then you know you're looking at a bullfrog. And then of course, once they start singing, there's nothing else that sounds like them. Bullfrogs depend on good water quality. Of course, their tadpoles are growing in the water, their eggs are laid in the water, the adults go in and out of the water. So anything we do to clean up our waterways here in Philadelphia is going to help bullfrogs. They stay in the water through the winter. Bullfrogs can be a little tricky to get close to. Of course, humans can be predators of bullfrogs. People eat them, and they know that. So as you're getting closer to them, they'll jump in the water. They'll make kind of like a meep kind of sound as they jump in the water. And so that's one way you know a bullfrog had just been there. Green frogs make a similar kind of noise. If that happens and you want to see that bullfrog that just tried to get away from you, back a few steps up, wait a minute. They come right back to the surface usually, and they'll climb out maybe a few yards away, or maybe even in the same spot they jumped into. And of course, once you hear them singing, you know what they are. I mentioned green frogs earlier. Green frogs have a call that sounds more like a loose banjo string, people say, kind of like a bonk, bonk kind of sound. So again, that's one way you can tell apart what you're looking at as a green frog or a bullfrog. We want to thank the Cobbs Creek Environmental Center and Parks and Recreation for having such great parks full of great waterways that we can all enjoy and learn about nature and frogs in, and shoot these videos in. We want to thank the William Penn Foundation for supporting these videos. This has been a production of phillynature.org and Grid Magazine. If you want to learn more about bullfrogs and green frogs and other wildlife in Philadelphia, check out phillynature.org. And then, of course, subscribe to Grid Magazine. We've got a lot of great written content in there, and it's a great way to support environmental journalism right here in Philadelphia. Thanks.